Hi there, Dan Elkington of Keep It Easy Financial Planning here. This is the week so far. This is a series of broadcasts where I'm essentially going to read through some of the news and tell you what I think of what's going on. And there's a lot going on at the moment. Essentially, this is a kind of a I said that a lot. This is a summary of the news and how I think this might affect portfolios, and it's a bit of a I've done it again. It's a bit of a discussion. This is going out live. Keep It Easy Financial Planning Limited is a limited company. It's soon going to be a trading style of a network called Sense, and then we're going to apply for it to become an appointed rep. There's a whole stupid legal and regulatory process as to why we're doing it this way, but partially based on the fact that the FCA are kind of striking or threatening to, so we're not quite sure about timescale, so we're doing the most expedient thing first. But anyway, so this isn't live. Yes, this is just me, some bloke who's a director of a company that's not quite yet trading, just testing out the technology and making sure it's working. Yesterday it cut out at around about 14 minutes, so 14 and a half minutes, whereas the actual video was about half an hour long, so that's interesting. That's something I've learned. So it seems that YouTube will only let me record a 15-minute video, which is great. Anyway, so let's have a look at the news. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the headlines of the FT. I've read the articles. I want to talk about them if they're of interest. There's a load of tabs at the top here. These are basically what I'm going to talk through. I didn't get to talk through the financial stability report from the Bank of England yesterday or Wednesday or whenever it was because, again, I did, but the 14-minute thing. So the Prime Minister in the UK resigned yesterday, sort of. He didn't actually resign. He said he was going to resign when the party's appointed a new Prime Minister. I think it's a technical point that's really important to bear in mind because he's not actually gone yet. What that's done, though, we're down 0.5% again today, the pound against the dollar. However, there was a wave of resignations yesterday. It probably doesn't. Let's go for a week, and I'll show you a bit better. So after this wave of resignations, the pound dropped against the dollar. Why the dollar? Why do we use the dollar? It's kind of like the benchmark currency across the world. So the pound dropped against the dollar. There was a bit of a rally. Yesterday, but it's back down again today because I think that people have realised that actually only half the ministers that have resigned have been appointed, and the Prime Minister, who is largely considered around the world to be fairly incompetent, is still there. So the prospects of the UK economy recovering over the next few months while he's replaced is not particularly bright, I'm afraid to say. The Tory party want to get rid of him quickly, but they're allowing him to stay. I mean, it would be traditional to allow somebody like Dominic Raab, the Deputy Prime Minister, to take over in the interim. My wife's decided now's the perfect time to do some hoovering. So I'll go through this really quickly. Terrible, shocking news. Shinzo Abe, who's the former Prime Minister of Japan, has been shot on a campaign trail. No idea why yet. It's horrible. Japanese markets are obviously affected by that. Long term, I don't think there will be long term. What was there? Where was it? Yeah, Theranos, who's that Elizabeth Holmes, if you remember her, she's the massive fraudster, the one with the really deep voice and the kind of the massive starey eyes. That one, she's former executive, has been convicted of fraud. So I think the rot spread deeper than the CEO, which is true. There's a lot of these sorts of stories. Dominic Cummings is saying it. What's the nearly leader of the Conservative Party, stood for mayor. I can see his face. I can hear his voice in my head. I just can't remember his name. Rory Stewart. He's been saying more or less the same thing. There's been quite a few Conservative commentators saying he should really be gone now. We want to get rid of him now. So the fact that he's staying is a bit weird. This is what the BBC's reporting on, that the race to replace Boris is beginning. I mean, what difference will that make in the markets? As we've seen already with the pound, early indications are that, oh goodness, he's gone. Oh no, hold on, he's not. So that's kind of gives you an idea about what the markets think is going to happen. I still think that the cost of living crisis isn't going to be resolved. It's going to cause problems for medium-sized companies in the UK because their workforce, they're the ones that are going to have to kind of pay for it because the government aren't. So that's not helpful. In the business pages, there's more about Sunny Balwani, who's been convicted of fraud. Chocolate's getting better, and my wife's hoovering is getting closer. Business is called for stability. This is an interesting article. CBI, is it? Yep. Political vacuum needs to be filled at speed. What business hates most is uncertainty and instability. Absolutely. If you don't know what you're doing, you don't know where to invest your money, you don't know what to do, it just kind of sits in cash and wastes. And that's not particularly helpful, because you should be spending money, because then that money goes to other businesses and helps then generate revenue, and so on and so on and so forth. So, taxes, this is just awful. There's the bloke who did it. I think probably. He's having a blood transfusion to save his life. He's in critical condition. He may well die. The international response from Narendra Modi, Australian Prime Minister, Singapore's Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, Ursula von der Leyen, even Sergei Lavrov has responded. There's a name up there that hasn't. It's just the thing is we don't know. Oh no, hold on a minute. No, he says his thoughts are with family. Okay, so he tweeted at 8:30 this morning. All right, fine, good. It's. The man who appears to have fired the gunshot has been arrested, but we don't know why. So it's all just weird. Again, I don't think that will affect portfolios. It's horrible, but it won't affect portfolios too much. Sydney. Again, I think I said the other day, but we've got to make sure that blame is apportioned appropriately within for these sort of climate crises, because the problem is if you misattribute blame, then you can't come up with an appropriate solution to the problem, and you end up essentially spending loads of money on a waste. Whereas we should be investing money in stuff that works. This is an extreme weather event. It's not necessarily because of global warming. Anyway, that's about it for today. So, because my wife is insisting on making as much noise as possible. And then there's a financial stability report, which basically said the economy is unstable. That's in summary. So,